Hey guys, Dr. Brian Wickstrom here with River City Chiropractic, and today we're talking about whiplash, and the most common type of whiplash injury tends to occur in a rear end collision auto accident. And so I just want to take a little bit of time here to kind of explain what happens during the actual accident itself and how that ultimately affects your spine and can lead to various different health problems, and then what we do to help our patients to address and actually correct those rather than just covering up the symptoms. So if you think about during a auto collision, what happens, the car is coming from behind, they run into your vehicle, and so the car that you're sitting in moves forward, and so does your body itself. So your ribs, your body, your spine moves forward, and what happens is the head is swung backwards and it hits the headrest behind you, and then it violently is flung forwards. And so what happens then in your spine is it actually creates what we call an S curve in your spine. So the bottom part of your neck is curving forward like it normally should be, and the upper part is actually reversing and going the wrong direction from what it should. And so the problem is that this area of your spine is one of the most important areas of your spine. We call it the arc of life in chiropractic because your brain sits up here, and for any of the messages to get to wherever they need to go in your body, ultimately has to pass through your neck. And so when you start to lose this proper curve that you should have normally in your neck, that creates mechanical tension or tension on the spinal cord. So losing this curve can stretch the spinal cord by 4 to 7 centimeters and can increase the pressure on the spinal cord itself by up to 40 pounds. And so this causes a lot of damage with the spinal cord. And so most often people go into like urgent care, they go into the hospital, and they're not really necessarily looking at this damage to the spine and the surrounding structures. So most people maybe get an x-ray or they're told that, yeah, you got whiplash here, take these anti-inflammatories and muscle relaxers and, you're fine, just, go home and rest. But the problem is that starts this process of the spine starting to break down and degenerate and, causes issues with the nerves, which can ultimately lead to a lot of pain, other sorts of dysfunctions going on in your body. And so that's why it's important to see somebody like a corrective chiropractor, and so because that's exactly what we help our patients address in getting that proper curve back in their spine, and we're able to see that over time on pre and post x-rays. So one of the things that we do is we provide our patients with one of these little devices here. It's called a cervical roll. Okay, this is just a cylinder of foam basically. It's kind of squishy, so it's relatively comfortable. So we give this to our patients to sleep on. And so I'm going to have Liz demonstrate how to use this. So you go ahead and just lay on back. That goes right under your neck in kind of the mid, usually the lower half of the neck. It helps us support the neck while we're sleeping. So we spend about a third of our life sleeping. And so if you're using a thick pillow or maybe even 2 pillows, like I was guilty of growing up, then that's actually making the problem worse. It's forcing your neck in the wrong direction, and it's going to cause things to break down faster. And so this is an excellent tool to be using at night while you're sleeping, or you can use like a cervical pillow type thing as well, which we talked about in other videos. We also provide our patients with what's called a dental roll. So this is a patented kind of like orthotic for your spine or for your neck. And there's countless studies on the success with this and helping people to restore the proper curve in their neck and improve their posture. So this one, again, just kind of tucks under your shoulders there, and you're going to lay on that on a firm surface, ideally maybe on the floor or yoga mat, if you have like a massage table, something like that. And so you can see how that helps to work on restoring that natural curve that you should have in your neck. This one's not designed to lay on or to sleep on. You just want to lay on that. Usually for most people, start out with a couple minutes, depending on how much pain you're in, and then build that up to about 20 minutes. You want to be able to lay on that, and that's enough to help with the remolding of the muscles and the ligaments and to restore that proper curve that you may have lost in your neck. And then we also, when you're suffering from whiplash, then that can cause the spine or the vertebrae to get out of alignment. And that's where chiropractic care comes in, because we are able to see specifically which joints are moving well, which ones are not. And so if things aren't moving properly, that's going to make these exercises more challenging for you. It also can cause a pain, and we can't get your spine back to a position that your body just physically can't move to. So adjustments are super helpful for people that are dealing with a whiplash type of injury. And you might be thinking, if you're in a lot of pain following up, a rear end collision, then you may not want to be adjusted. But there's a lot of different ways that people can be adjusted. We have different instruments and tools that we use that are very low force and gentle. And so we can kind of ease you into it. And then, maybe do some manual adjustments too. Just kind of depends on what you're comfortable with and what we think is going to be the best as far as your spine goes. And then the fourth thing that we do to help people in getting the proper curve back in their neck is the cervical traction. So we're going to jump right over here. So this device, we have this in our office, but we also provide our patients with this to be using at home as well. And so you want to set up so it's the proper height, right about chin level, like Liz is demonstrating there. And they're going to put the one piece behind your neck, the other part goes under your chin, and it's basically like you're doing a little bit of a squat. So what this does is it helps the traction and lengthen the spine vertically, which opens up those disc spaces. It helps with getting the natural curve back in the neck, and it helps with your posture. So a lot of times your head's forward, and so this helps to bring your head back more over your shoulders where it should normally be. And so those are some of the key things that we do to help people recover and restore that arc of life in their neck that tends to be lost following a whiplash injury. And that's what we do to help our patients out. So hope you like this video, and we'll talk to you in the next video.